Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam. I'm a licensed cosmetologist and I've been doing hair professionally for about 3 years now. And here on my channel, I've been sharing my life and my experiences becoming a hairstylist and sharing all of the ins and outs and the reality of what it's like to be a hairstylist. So today I wanted to just sit down and kind of share my story and my journey. I didn't take the traditional route of just going to beauty school right out of high school. I went to college, got my degree in something else, and then changed my mind later down the road and decided to change careers a little bit later in life. I want this to just give you the push and be the sign that you've been looking for to just go for it. Make that career change. Finally pursue what you're passionate about. I know that when I was trying to figure things out and figure out what I wanted to do with my life as far as my career and my passions, I didn't really have anybody to look to for inspiration. I really was just figuring it all out on my own, and it was very scary, and I wish that I had a video like this back then. So let's start from the very beginning. From as early as I can remember, have always had a passion for hair, makeup, fashion, like all things beauty related. And it's funny because my mom is the total opposite of that. Like, she is so low maintenance, doesn't care about her hair, never puts on makeup, and I don't know where I got it from. And by the time I was in middle school, my mom was finally allowing me to experiment with my hair, color my hair, and that's exactly what I did. I did a whole bunch of crazy things to my hair, always did it myself, cut it myself, colored it myself, and it was always so fun to me, and I just felt like I had like a natural talent for it. So eventually I started playing around on friends and family and doing other people's hair as well, but it was always something that was just a hobby to me. It was just something that I did for fun. I never considered it as an actual career option because I didn't know any hairstylists. I just always was led to believe the stereotype that people that work in the beauty industry and people who are hairstylists, unless you can make it big and become like a celebrity stylist, you're not going to go very far in life. You're not going to be successful. You're not going to make any money. It's not like a stable, safe career choice to make. And I was always led to believe that people become hairstylists because they're not smart enough to do anything else. And you know, in school, I always did really well. I got really good grades. So for me, the path was always, oh, you're gonna go to college. Like, I never even considered anything else. That's what all my teachers told me. That's what my guidance counselors told me. That's what my parents wanted for me. So as soon as I graduated high school, I went straight to a 4-year college. I majored in communications and media because in high school, yes, of course, I still loved beauty, but I also had interests in design. I was in the newspaper club. I was the yearbook editor. I worked on our school's morning broadcast. So I chose communications because it's just like a big umbrella field that basically encompasses all of those things. I went to Temple University in Philadelphia, and right off the bat, like my first week, I just had a panic attack because I was like, oh my God, I don't know that I want to be here. Like, I don't know. I never even considered not going to college, but now that I'm here, I'm like, I don't know if this is the right fit for me. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I felt very scared and overwhelmed. So, you know, all through college, pretty much I had my doubts and I was very back and forth, not sure what I wanted to do, if I wanted to stay in college or not. But I didn't really know what else I would do instead, so I just stuck it out, and I, you know, continued doing hair on myself and on friends and family for fun. At one point in college is when I really got into YouTube, and I actually started making my own videos. One of my first YouTube videos was me coloring my hair bright red, and it was kind of cool because as social media was starting to take off more, I was finding people who worked in the beauty field, who were hairstylists and cosmetologists. Because remember, I didn't know anybody in real life. So I remember I had found Guy Tang and Elle Bangs. They were like the first hairstylists that I found online. And watching their videos, watching them work, it just further ignited that interest and passion that I had for it. A girl who was like a friend of a friend had reached out to me on Instagram and asked if I would do her hair for her to color it. And she was like, I'll pay you, I'll pay for the products. So I agreed. I thought, yeah, sure, why not? That'll be fun. And at this point I had taught myself a lot just from personal experience and from like research I've done online, watching other tutorials and stuff. So her hair, she naturally is like very, very dark, and she had grown out blonde. So there was like several inches of her natural dark color, and then she had a bunch of banding, and then the ends were blonde, and her goal was to be a solid platinum from root to end. So this was a huge deal. Like, this was a full-on color correction. So she came over to my parents' house, I did her hair. It took hours, like probably at least 6 hours, 6 to 7, I want to say, because hello, I wasn't a professional yet. Like, I was slow, obviously. But in the end, her hair turned out amazing, and I wish that I could find pictures of it, because I know I took pictures, but it was so long ago, I can't find them anymore. But her hair really did turn out so good, and I was so proud of myself. And I learned so many things during this experience. Number one, I was like, wow, okay, I obviously have some kind of like natural talent, and like this clicks for me because I'm not professionally trained yet. I just did an amazing job. And two, it took so long. By the end of it, I checked the time and it was like 1 in the morning. My back was killing me, my feet were killing me. But in the moment as I was doing her hair, I had no concept of how much time was passing. I didn't realize how like physically uncomfortable I was because I was so into what I was doing. I was so passionate and focused that it didn't matter how much time was passing, you know? Like, I just loved what I was doing so much. That was a very eye-opening moment for me. And between that and like what I was watching on YouTube, it really made me feel like maybe I should look into pursuing doing hair as a career. All of the stereotypes that I had believed growing up were starting to kind of fade away a bit. So I remember I was in my last year of college. I was just finishing up the first semester of my senior year. So I had 1 semester left of college till I graduated and had my degree. That was it, 1 semester. And I decided to set up an appointment to go tour a beauty school. And I went back to my apartment and I called my mom and I told her, I'm dropping out of college and I'm gonna go to beauty school and I'm gonna become a hairstylist. And she was like, are you kidding me? You have 1 semester left. But after talking to my mom and then I talked to my advisors at college as well, I decided, you know, I may as well just finish. I finished school. I got my degree in media and communication. I didn't end up enrolling in cosmetology school right away because I was going through a lot mentally, physically with my health. I just wasn't in like the right headspace for it, I guess. So some time passed, I did some freelance work, like freelance videography work, continued working on my YouTube channel. I worked retail for a little while, and then eventually I got my first like big girl full-time job. So I got hired as an internet marketer. It was a traditional Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 desk job. And you know, I was pretty sure that I didn't want to do the 9 to 5 thing. But you never really can know if you're gonna like something or not until you actually try it. So I figured, I'll get this job, I'll take this opportunity, I'll give it a try and I'll see. And maybe I actually will like this and maybe it'll work out totally fine and I can put my degree to use and be fine. But a few months into that job, I hated my job. I resented it so much, and I don't want to sit here and complain and whine like woe is me, because I mean, it was a pretty good job. Like, the people I worked with were great. My bosses were fantastic. It was a private company, so it wasn't like a stuffy corporate type of environment. It was very laid back, but that type of work just wasn't for me. And I found myself spending most days sitting there staring at the clock, constantly checking the time, waiting until I could go home for the day. Every night I would come home and just dread having to wake up the next morning to go back. And I remember talking to my mom about it and venting about how unhappy I was, and she was like, that's just life. Like, nobody likes their job. Everybody hates going to work. That's just how it is. And I was like, that's not okay. It shouldn't be that way. Like, yeah, of course work is work at the end of the day, but you should at least like what you do. You shouldn't be dreading every single day. Like, I literally was at a point at that time in my life where I was having life-ending thoughts on a regular basis. And I just knew, okay, this isn't okay. Like, something needs to change. I started looking into it again, and I was like, I think I'm gonna finally pursue going to cosmetology school. So I made the decision because at the time I was living with my now ex-boyfriend in an apartment, and I knew that if I were to quit my job and go to cosmetology school, I would want to do it full time. And there's no way that I'd be able to work end of school and make enough money that I could still like pay for my half of the rent and all my bills. So I decided to wait until our lease was up because we only had a few months left in our lease at that point. Continued working at my internet marketing job for another few months so I could save up as much as possible. Moved out of the apartment, ended that relationship, and I moved back home with my parents, and a couple months later I enrolled myself in cosmetology school. You know, making this decision, I say it like, oh, I decided to just quit my job, I moved out, that was it. It wasn't just like a quick spontaneous decision. There were a lot of fears and a lot of doubts. I felt like, well, what if I go to cosmetology school? Because by the way, I had student loans from college and I didn't have enough money to pay for my cosmetology tuition up front. My parents didn't have money to loan me. So I knew I was gonna have to take out another loan to help me pay for school. So I was like, do I wanna have all of these student loans? Because it's bad enough I already have one tuition to pay off. Now I'm gonna have two. And what if I enroll in cosmetology school and then I realize that I don't actually like doing hair as much as I thought I would? Or maybe, you know, I knew that I had a talent as far as doing hair, but I also was always a shy and kind of awkward person. And I was really nervous that I wasn't gonna be good at like interacting with people. Like the thought of having to make small talk with a stranger and like do a stranger's hair terrified me. And I thought, well, you know, what if I'm not good at that? There were so many doubts and so many fears, and I didn't want to end up wasting more time and wasting more money. But I just remembered that time in college when I did that color correction and how it made me feel and how proud I was by the end and how the time flew by. Here I am at my desk job constantly checking the time, and every minute that goes by feels like an eternity. Meanwhile, whenever I'm doing hair, hours will pass by and it feels like 2 minutes. This is obviously something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that I'm interested in and something that I keep thinking about. I just keep coming back to this every time. So I can either not pursue it out of fear and then spend the rest of my life wondering what if and potentially being miserable, or I can say fuck it and just go for it and give it a chance and see what happens and potentially end up being extremely happy. And you know, I was back and forth a lot. I had some family members that weren't really supportive of the idea. They believed the stereotypes, you know, like, well, what are you gonna go become a hairstylist for? Like, you have a college degree, you're gonna be moving backwards. Like, you're better than that. You're not gonna make any money doing that. You're not gonna be successful doing that. Your degree is gonna go to waste. Like, all that time now that you spent in college, all that money is for nothing. So it wasn't an easy decision, but I really just felt like I had to do it. Because at the end of the day, even if, say, I went to cosmetology school and I realized that I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to, or it just wasn't the right fit for me, okay, so then on to the next thing. I think that we all are like conditioned to believe that our life needs to follow a certain timeline and we need to have everything figured out by a certain age, or that you have to just pick one thing that you're gonna do for the rest of your life. And that's not the case. It's totally fine if it takes you longer to figure things out. And it's also totally fine if you go down multiple different routes and change your mind and come back and forth. Like, our life doesn't need to always move in like one forward direction. It's okay to change your mind later down the road and go back to school, pursue something different. And that's something that took me a long time to break that mentality. So anyway, yeah, I moved back home. I started cosmetology school. Literally from the first day, I knew that I had made the right decision because it just felt so right to me. It just clicked and I felt like these are my people, this is where I'm meant to be. You know, I do feel very lucky that it worked out, but like I said, even if it didn't, and even now, like, I love where I'm at now, I love what I do, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna do this necessarily forever. In a few years, I may get sick of this and I might wanna try out something different. I might end up in a totally different field, and that's fine. So yeah, cosmetology school was great. I had a great experience. I have so many videos. I have an entire like cosmetology journey playlist, which I'll link in the description. I have a video where I shared like my entire experience in cosmetology school. I have vlogs from when I was in cosmetology school. I have a video where I show you like my beauty school kit. Go check out that playlist after this video if you're interested. But I assisted majority of the time while I was in school at a salon, which is great. It helped me learn a lot more like hands-on, like real life stuff. And then as soon as I graduated, literally the next day, I started my first like full-time stylist job. And I worked at that salon for a few months, and then I ended up changing salons. I found a salon that was brand new right in my area, very close to where I live. And I've been working there for almost 3 years now. This coming June will make 3 years that I've been there, and I absolutely love it. So I work as a commissioned stylist, and it's a really small salon. For a while, actually, it was just me and my boss. Now we do have another stylist, so there's 3 of us there. My boss is absolutely amazing. I have so much flexibility, which is great. I have the freedom to make my own schedule, book my own clients, kind of come and go as I please. And she's just amazing. Like, we have a great relationship. She also has foster dogs there all the time, which like nothing is better. It took me about a year or so to really grow my clientele. In the beginning, it was very slow, which again, I have videos on all of these things I'm talking about. So if you want to know more in depth, like what it was like for me just starting out in the salon, how I grew my clientele, I have videos on all of that. So I'm just gonna kind of glaze over it now. So this video isn't 5 hours long, but I definitely went through that period of time where I was like, oh my God, am I gonna be able to make this work? How am I gonna make any money? Originally, I thought I'm gonna move back home just while I'm in school, and then shortly after I graduate, I'll move out. No. It took me a while. It was very overwhelming and daunting, but I just continued to have faith in myself. It's corny, but you just have to believe in yourself, really. Like, I just kept telling myself, even during the times when I had no clients in my chair and I had no money in my bank account, I just told myself, you will figure it out. You got this. It will work out for you. And it did. I would say it wasn't until like a full year went by that I really was like busy and started to become fully booked. And that's when finally I was starting to make like decent money. So I ended up living with my parents for 3 years because I started cosmetology school in March 2017. Then I graduated February 2018. So it was almost 1 full year that I was in school. And then it took me about a year to grow my clientele and get to a point where I started making decent money. And then I waited another year to save up and try to pay off as much of my loans as I could. And then I didn't move out into my own place until this past June 2020. Now at this point, I am living on my own. I have an apartment, I live by myself. I am fully 100% independent. I have my own car, pay all my own bills. My student loans are almost completely paid off. And I got to a point where just from working at the salon, I was making enough money to do that and to support myself. But now at this point, I actually have cut back my hours a little bit, and I'm only at the salon part-time because my YouTube channel started really taking off and I wanted to make more time for that. So right now I'm doing hair at the salon, specializing in color. And then I also do YouTube, and then I also, the last few months, started doing online courses. And that just kind of goes to show too how you have to just kind of be open and just roll with the punches. Because even though like I've been doing YouTube since college, like I said, and I love it, and of course there have been times where I was like, oh, I'd love to be able to do YouTube full time and make a living off of it, but it's not something that I necessarily planned for. You know, I thought, oh, I'm gonna do hair and be a full-time stylist. But then this started to take off as I was sharing my experiences, and then I figured, you know what? This is a great opportunity too. Let me find a way to combine both. And it's funny because now I feel like with everything I'm doing online, I am utilizing my college degree as well. And I'm utilizing the experience and the knowledge that I gained working as an internet marketer. So it really has like all worked out. Everything has come together, and I'm at a point where I'm just so happy. And it feels weird to sit here and say that because it just sounds obnoxious and like I'm bragging, but really I'm at a point in my life where I couldn't be happier. Like I feel like I have it all, you know? Like I'm doing well for myself. I'm making more than double what I was making at my full-time 9-to-5 job, and I work like half the amount of hours. And I have what I always wanted, which is freedom and flexibility to get to do something that I'm actually passionate about, and something that not only makes me happy and something where I get to be creative and work with my hands, but I also get to like positively affect other people, whether I'm doing their hair or I'm creating a video to help inspire other people or share my experiences and advice. And even though at the salon I do have a boss, technically, I'm not an independent stylist, I don't work for myself, I'm not the salon owner, but I still have that freedom and that flexibility, and it's amazing to me that I can make my own schedule. I've never been a morning person, so I don't have to get up at the ass crack of dawn. If I want to work later in the day, I can do that. Work is still work. Of course, there's days where I'll have clients booked for the day at the salon and I really don't feel like getting up and getting dressed. You know, so it's not like every single day is like always perfect and I'm always like super upbeat and excited to go to work, but you know, at the end of the day, I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I'm doing. What I'm doing is fulfilling to me, and I think that everybody deserves that. Everybody deserves to love what they do. I just want to inspire you to go for it. Chase after your dreams. Do what is going to make you happy at the end of the day. And even if you have other people around you that are creating doubt in your mind, that are being negative, that aren't supportive, you have to just remember that this is your life that you're living, not theirs. You have to do what is going to make you happy. And I truly believe that when you want something bad enough and you really love something enough, you're passionate enough about it, you will be successful at it. You will make it work. And if I could do it, trust me, there were so many moments where I really was scared and I didn't know how it was gonna work out. But I just had to keep having faith in myself and kept working hard, kept hustling, and it ended up working out for me. So if it can work for me, it can work for you too. So yeah, that is my story. That is how I made the decision to become a hairstylist and how I ended up where I'm at now in my career. I get asked a lot, like, do I have any regrets? Do I ever wish that I would have just pursued hair sooner, that I didn't go to college? And I mean, yeah, it would be nice to not have had so many loans to pay off. There's definitely times where I look at other stylists that are the same age as me or even a little younger who have more experience because they started their careers earlier. Because by the time I finished cosmetology school, I was almost 26. So yeah, there's definitely times where I kind of wonder how differently things may have been if I went a different route and figured things out earlier. But at the same time, everything that I experienced is what led me to where I'm at now and is what helped create the person that I am now. I don't think that if I went to beauty school right away, I would have wanted it as much and that I would have been as sure about it. So really, I don't have any regrets. I'm proud of that journey. So don't let fear or doubt stand in your way. Don't let, you know, embarrassment or shame of being maybe a little bit older stand in your way. Don't let other people's negativity and their negative comments stand in your way. I've had multiple people message me telling me they're in their 40s and 50s and they're just starting cosmetology school. So it is never too late to change paths. If pursuing a career in the beauty field is something that you're interested in, I think that you would definitely enjoy the content on my channel. Like I said, I have tons of videos sharing my whole experience, so I would love it if you would subscribe. Also, feel free to go follow me on Instagram if you want to see photos of my work. And if you did enjoy this video, if anything that I said spoke to you, I would really appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot with YouTube's algorithm, and hopefully I will see you again very soon in my next video. Bye.